Welcome back to MVM. We have a Kickstarter preview for a game called Kicking Class today. This one's from Ram Games. It is a push your luck dice rolling game with one of the coolest themes. It's high school.
Yeah, it is high school. And what you're doing in this game is you're trying to go from your freshman to your senior year and pass classes along the way, all trying to get scholarship points either through the cards that you use, through tokens, through popularity in the school.
And taking the ACT.
And taking the ACT.
Multiple times if needed.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone has a particular persona that they're taking on. These personas give them 2 variable powers throughout the course of the game. Some of them are once per year. Some of them are always activated when they do specific things within the game.
Yeah, and all these characters are not exactly the classic stereotypes of high school, but they do have a little bit of that going on. It seems like it's been probably modernized. There's an iPhone on everyone's player board, but most importantly, they each have sort of a variable player power in place.
Right. At the start of the game, everyone's going to randomly get one of these characters. Also, each person is going to randomly draw 2 parent cards. These are funny because they have weird names on them, like I Need a Coffee or Seymour Butts. So if you've been in high school, you know these funny jokes.
Or junior high.
Exactly. All of these parents, you're going to get 2, and they each provide, or they have a set of dice on them, and you're going to pick one of each of these parents from the dice that they provide. So I could pick the red die from this one and either the yellow and the red one from this one. These will give you your starting dice and the dice that you're going to be using from your freshman year all the way to the senior year. Each of these years, you can have additional dice. So your freshman year, you can have 2 dice. And up to your senior year, which you can have 5 dice. You're trying to accumulate one of these different colored dice. There's 5 different types of dice, but your main dice are your red, your yellow, and your blue, because those tie in very specifically to the classes that you're trying to pass each year.
Yeah, you're going to be able to collect the red, yellow, or blue via some of the classes that you'll pass. If you don't happen to pass those types of classes, you're always able to take one of the black die, which doesn't give you a benefit, which we'll get into in a minute.
Each of your parents will also have a special ability on the bottom. These are one-time uses. Once you use them, they go out of the game. Other components. You have action cards that look like this on the back side and like this on the front side. These are cards that you can typically use either on your turn or on other players' turns to influence die rolls, to influence popularity in the game, to influence other players' die rolls. You also have some failure cards. If you do not pass the class, you get a random failure of some sort, which is not good.
No.
But you will be getting those through the course of the game. Also, you have stacks of cards here for the different types of classes. You have freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. All these require you to do specific things to pass the class. And they get progressively both easier and harder because you have more dice to use, but also the specifications of what you need to do become a little bit more challenging as you go.
Yeah, and there's a variety in those classes. They're keyed to those dice. So there's going to be classes that are colored red, yellow, blue, and there are some that are wild. Now, the color coding here comes into play because you're able to do some re-rolling. There is some mitigation. If you're thinking, oh, this is just a bunch of dice rolling, there is some mitigation here, but it is a push-your-luck game at its heart.
Yeah, looking at the cards a little bit more specifically, they all tell you what you're trying to pass. Typically, these are like roll higher than 12, roll lower than 12, roll triples, roll full houses, roll
within
straights.
A certain range.
Yeah. Also, they give you benefits. Some of them give you just straight-up benefits either by collecting tokens, by gathering points, by gathering popularity, by acquiring new cards. But some of them also have special abilities on them. And when you gather these special abilities, these are unique because they're actually going to go and slot underneath your player board, which are going to give you ongoing benefits for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and Jeremy mentioned these tokens. That's another bit of the components over here. I'm going to start with the Apple tokens. The Apple tokens are what you're going to collect. And at the end of any given year, if you have 3 Apple tokens, you may, optionally, attempt the ACT.
Yeah.
So you'd hand in your 3 apples, you get 2 scholarship points just by doing that alone, and then you're going to roll all of the ACT dice to get that score. The other tokens here, we've got some scholarship points. These, like Jeremy just said, on some of those cards, it's going to give you some straight up scholarship points. And then finally, the pencil tokens are things you're going to be able to acquire that'll help you during the ACT. You can trade those in for a couple different options.
Each player is going to draw 3 of these action cards at the start of the game and pair them with their 2 parent cards. These are basically the cards you're going to be using from round after round. Let's talk about the board itself. When you look at the board, you have a row of lockers. These lockers are your popularity within the school. Each player is going to be represented by one of these tokens here. And you're going to move up through the popularity and move down depending upon card rolls or dice rolls and cards that are used. The player who is the first player is the one who's the most popular, which totally makes sense. Also, this is a point track. The more popular you are at the end of the game, the more points you may acquire at the end of the game. Around the board are the actual victory points. Again, you're going to acquire those from SAT or ACT scores, from scholarship points that you get from random rules through the course of the game. You have your stack of cards here. Again, you're going to go through 4 different years of school, your freshman through your senior year. Each one of them is going to be represented by a different stack of cards. These are all just randomly shuffled and placed here at the start of the round. So at the start of the round, you're going to lay out 5 total cards, 4 plus the number of players plus 1. Also, in the bottom right-hand corner, this is going to track your school year. As we said, there's a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. Each of these rounds is going to show how many dice you can use in each of them, and then each one also has a particular number of rounds within it. So there's 3 trimesters in every single school year. And then you're actually going to have a 4th, which is kind of a schools out summer session that you can possibly participate in.
So starting with the first player, every round's going to start with that person choosing a class that they want to try to pass, and then rolling their dice to try to pass it. Now, there's some things that go into this decision. You're going to look at the color of the dice that you chose at the beginning of the game. I have a yellow and a blue, so I want to look at yellow and blue classes because if I roll, I'm able to re-roll that color once. So if I tried the yellow class, I could re-roll my yellow die once. There are some wild classes. These usually don't have maybe as great of benefits, but you're able to re-roll basically any one or any of the colored dice that you roll, so it doesn't matter what dice you have. They're just, like I said, not as beneficial. So you're going to roll up your die and basically check that against the requirements, the requirement of the course. If you pass it, you're going to simply take that card, and like Jeremy said earlier, if there's a special ability here at the bottom, you're going to place that under your board and have that for the rest of the game. Otherwise, you'll just take the benefits and place it right here under your classes passed, and then it's the next player's turn.
And the reason why you want to collect these cards is because at the end of the game, you're also getting points depending upon how many classes that you've passed through the course of the game. And if you fail the class, you have to take a failure card. And these do a variety of different things within the game. This one, for instance, requires you to lose one of your action cards directly from your hand to the discard pile. So they're obviously not things you want to do.
No, and those usually happen immediately. There are some in there that fall into the suspension category. If that happens, you have to sit out the next trimester, so you're not able to play that next round. Again,
the turn order in these rounds is determined by the player who's the most popular. If there's ever a tie for whoever's the most popular, it's a roll-off, and whoever has the highest is going to go next. And each player is going to take pick one of those cards to use, either passing or fail, and then you're going to wipe the cards completely, and you're going to start a new trimester and move to the second one. You're going to do that 3 rounds in a row, trying to pass as many classes as you can, gather as many tokens as you can, as many benefits as you can, until summer school. And this is where you have some options in turn order to take specific actions.
Yeah, as soon as school's out, the first thing you can do is in turn order, you're going to look down and see if you have 3 apples. If you have 3 apples, you're able to attempt the ACT. Now, the ACT is an interesting scoring mechanism here because you can't take the ACT multiple times and score all of those points. You're only going to keep your best ACT score. So, if you can take it multiple times, it increases your chances of doing well.
And the ACT allows you to score from 0 up to 10 points through the course of the game. And you kind of progressively want to wait. If you can take it multiple times, that's good, but also you want to wait because you want to gather some of these pencil tokens to increase your possible score.
Yeah, when you take the ACT, you're going to take the specified dice, which are these 6 white dice here, and you're going to roll those once. Now, if you have pencil tokens, you can do a couple different things. The first thing you can do is you can trade in any pencil token to re-roll one of the dice. Now, these pencil tokens come in different denominations, but it doesn't matter. You can't make change. So if you took a 3 pencil token, you could trade that in for 1 reroll. Now, once you're done re-rolling, you can actually add the pencil token values to your result, and that then becomes your ACT score.
And the score, as we said, it ranges from 0 to 10, and what you're trying to do is get a dice range that goes from 11 up to 36. So these fall within specific ranges on how many points you're going to score according to a chart that's down here. Then you have summer plans.
Yes,
and in turn order, players have to make a choice. Do you want to get a job? Do you want to hang out? Or do you want to take summer school? I'll talk about summer school. To take summer school, you had to have passed 2 or fewer classes that round. If you pass all 3 of your classes, you can't take summer school. You're smart. Good for you, right? If you failed, you're allowed to take any one of the classes that weren't completed that particular year. So your freshman year, it's only freshman classes and so forth that weren't passed by other players. This is a one-time tip, just like you were taking the class normally. The only benefit here is if you don't pass it in summer school, you don't get a failure card.
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah, you were already penalized for having to go to summer school.
Yeah.
The next thing you could do is just hang out.
Yeah.
And you know how it goes. If you hang out and have a good time over the summer, you're bound to get more popular. So you gain 2 popularity points.
And the last thing you can do is you can get a job. When you get a job, you simply draw one of the action cards and put it in your hand. These action cards are super powerful. You want to have as many as you can through the course of the game because they help you modify and mitigate dice rolls and affect other players' dice rolls.
Yeah, it's a very interactive game. Those action cards can be used out of your turn, literally just about any time during the game. So if someone thinks they're about to use a card to their benefit, there's cards that say, no, you can't.
And the good thing is at the start of every single round after the freshman year, so your sophomore, junior, and senior year, everyone gets to draw an action card anyway. This just gives you a chance to draw additional ones through the course of the game. Then you go into the next year, everyone's going to have the ability to have an extra die to use that round. Some players are going to acquire the right color dice. Some people that don't have any in their reserve over here to the right are simply going to take a black die. Black die is great because it allows you to roll it just like anything else, but you can't manipulate it with the color classes that you have. That's the downfall of having a black die over a colored die.
Right, it's nice that they added that because if they didn't, you'd fall way behind only having 2 dice versus someone's 3 or 4. So you get that die, but like Jeremy said, if you don't have the different color die, you're not able to re-roll, and re-rolling becomes more and more beneficial throughout the game, or important rather, because some of those cards are very tricky to come up with straights or full houses, things like that.
You're going to refresh the deck, so your freshman deck is going to be thrown out. The sophomore deck is going to come in, and you're just going to repeat this process for 4 years. At the end of the game, you score up your points. And as we said, you're going to get victory points for however far you've got along on the scholarship track. Some of the points are going to be gained in-game. Some of them are going to be with scholarship points that you collected via tokens. Some of them are going to be from the ACT scores you have. And then you're getting a point for every single one of the classes that you've passed as well.
Right. You add that to your popularity, and those are the 4 different things that really comprise your total score at the end of the game. And of course, highest score wins.
Yep. Very cool theme. Like a high school theme isn't something you see a lot of in board games.
No.
So
I've never seen high school theme. I've also, the humor involved in a lot of these cards is really, really good because
it's high school.
Everyone's been through high school,
right.
And it's all right here in these cards.
If you guys have any questions about the game, make them in the comments below. Again, it's a 1 to 4 player game from Ram Games on Kickstarter now. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and everything else that we do, and we will catch you guys next time.
Bye-bye.